Good night and welcome to Teleislas News with the most relevant and important information every day. A person involved in the homicide of 2 police officers in the New Guinea sector was sentenced to more than 18 years in prison.
Through a press release, the prosecutor's office announced that due to the strength of the material evidence provided by a prosecutor of the San Andres section, Samir Franco Torres was sentenced to 18 years and 9 months in prison for being the perpetrator of the murders of 2 policemen in the sector of New Guinea. The facts under investigation occurred on October 31st, 2021, when Patrolman Sandra Marcela Perez Hoyos and Leviston Manuel Ortiz Rocha, in compliance with their function of guaranteeing citizen coexistence, approached a party that was taking place in the New Guinea neighborhood of the island. At the scene, the officers requested to turn off the loudspeaker that exceeded the permitted noise levels.
Por el homicidio de 2 uniformados de la policía.
For the murder of 2 officers of the National Police in events that occurred on the island of San Andres, Samir Franco was sentenced to 18 months in prison in acts on October 31st of last year. The patrolmen Sandra Perez and Leviston Manuel Ortiz, in the fulfillment of their duty to ensure the coexistence of the community when they entered the sector of New Guinea, asked them to lower the volume of the loudspeaker that exceeded the permitted noise levels.
The now convicted person, who accepted the charges brought by the prosecutor's office at a supervisory hearing in November 2021, was captured by officers of the Technical Investigation Corps of the prosecutor's office, supported by the National Police. The prosecutor's office charged the accused with the crimes of aggravated homicide, attempted aggravated homicide, and manufacturing, trafficking, and bearing of firearms.
At the press conference, the results of the joint operation in the archipelago was announced. The captures allowed to detect the modality of migrant trafficking in the waters of the archipelago.
In a joint operation between the National Navy, Ocre, and Colombia Migration, 3 people were captured for the crime of migrant smuggling.
Hemos detectado una modalidad de migración.
We have detected a modality of irregular immigration of immigrants to the United States using the archipelago. In view of this intelligence information that we have been handling, the entities made some controls with the National Police, where a verification was carried out on Venezuelan citizens that are using the island of San Andres for transit to North America. Yesterday, our raiders detected the irregular transit of 2 boats, which were intercepted, and we found on board of these 2 boats 10 people, of which 2 of them were minors, all of Venezuelan nationality, who were heading apparently to Nicaragua. 3 people were captured, 2 of Colombian nationality and 1 of Nicaraguan nationality, and a minor of Nicaragua as well, who was placed at the disposal of the Childhood and Adolescents Police because he was a minor.
A total of 35 people of Venezuelan nationality have been returned to the continent after being identified as regular immigrants.
Esto es producto del trabajo articulado.
This is the result of the joint work between the National Navy, Colombia Migration, and the National Police. When we felt the alarms, we were already achieving results in this area. There was already a previous work being done at the time when Colombia Migration alerted. The Ocre was able to outline how the Venezuelan population was entering, and at the time it was found, since it was not clear where they were going to stay and they did not have money and did not comply with the framework of Decree 2762 with the requirements.
The operation gave a result of the capture of 10 persons of Venezuelan nationality that are in administrative process by Colombian Migration, since they were found inside a vessel headed to Central America.
Y en ese sentido hemos tenido la oportunidad de hacer estas.
In that sense, we have been able to make the verification to have valuable information and obtain these results. To highlight, in the framework of our faculties, we make an administrative process that can end with deportation. At this moment, we are advancing the process.
A sailboat in transit near the archipelago sank, leaving 2 foreign passengers adrift who were rescued by the National Navy.
Coast Guard officers of the National Navy rescued 2 foreign citizens who were traveling near the archipelago after setting sail from Cartagena, who was adrift because their boat sank after presenting mechanical failures.
Indeed, the National Navy received an emergency call yesterday at noon. We received a report of the emergency of a sailboat that was in transit between Cartagena and the United States with 2 foreign citizens on board, one of Polish nationality and another American in transit. As they were coming close to Providence, they had an emergency. However, they managed to send a message. Fortunately, we managed to rescue them at 11:40 p.m. It was at that time we managed to locate them. As the sailboat was sinking, they were finally adrift.
Those affected recount the moments they experienced when the boat sank, causing them to be adrift.
Wednesday, the 8th, unfortunately with sailing conditions, downwind, going, the stay snapped. A few seconds later, we lost the mast, and then we tried to, use the motor to control the boat. That's why we engaged the SOS and PIRB. But then we canceled it because we actually took over the control over the boat. He managed to cut the existing part of the mast, we thought that we freed it, probably punched actually the hull somewhere in the hull.
The foreigners are grateful for the attention provided by the National Navy.
This is the first time ever that we had an emergency situation like this. And actually, you can only imagine the day is really gonna be marked in the days of our lives, because it's just started, from beautiful day, and then the backstay, then the mast, and then the rock. So,
The U.S. citizens will return to their country of origin on an airplane next Saturday, June 11, after completing all the pertinent procedures at the Colombian Immigration Office.
The departmental administration, headed by Governor Everett Hawkins Green, reiterated its interest in the reconstruction of San Andres and the island community through active participation during the dialogue convened yesterday by the Comptroller General of the Republic.
In view of the concern expressed by the community regarding the attendance of the Governor Everett Hawkins Green to the dialogue of participative following up to commitments of the emergency plan for the reconstruction of San Andres, convened yesterday by the General Comptroller of the Republic, and the request for his presence, Teleislas newspaper, the governor could not attend the event because he is attending other commitments in his agenda related to official negotiation for the benefit of the island community. However, in his interest in the subject, the departmental administration prioritized an active participation in the event, with the interim governor Randy Manuel Henry, together with the secretaries of Infrastructure and Public Works, Government and Planning, which were delegated for such purpose by the Governor Everett Hawkins. In this sense, the interim governor highlighted the importance of the participation of all and New Beginning administration in the event, to extend that it responded to the community.
We were with the affected rental community, and they presented their complaints about the reconstruction. And in every formal way, we are looking at how we can solve this problem. The conclusions were very clear to continue moving forward in the issue.
In this regard, the Secretary of Infrastructure and Public Works, Alfredo Escalona Peterson, provided information on the progress made by the repairs of the roofs of the houses affected by Hurricane Iota. Likewise, the planning portfolio gave details on the construction of new houses that have been delivered to the citizens.
Sabemos que hay muchos damnificados.
We know that there are many victims, and most of them are in the Edan. And those who are not, ask what is the solution that will be given to them. From the governor's office, headed by our Governor Everett Hawkins, he was very clear with the answers. The answer is that those who do not appear in the Edan and who are victims, we are also carrying a list in order to have a solution for this population that we know were also affected. So a special list is being kept for these victims, and the issues of those who appear in the Edan already been resolved, because we are going to increase the number of workers to improve and solve this reconstruction as quickly as possible.
Likewise, during the Space for Citizen Participation, the Teleislas of our Sea Office received an answer from the departmental government regarding their concern about the reconstruction of San Andres, a sign of the commitment of the administration all for a new beginning with the welfare of all inhabitants of the archipelago.
And in a mutual agreement ended the prior consultation of the Morgan County was held in the auditorium of the governor's office during the morning and afternoon. Following is an assessment of the topics discussed.
The meeting between the departmental administration, leaders, and the Raizal community on the island around the Morgan Canyon Monument and where it should be located lasted about 6 hours. This is an issue in dispute since the paving of that sector and the displacement of the monument. Ophelia Livingston, a Raizal leader, spoke about the agreements reached.
We had some compromisement from the local government, but they did not comply. They did not fulfill, so stay pending that in the month of August we will come back to the meeting for them to comply with number one, the budget for the move the Morgan Canyon. And
a very important topic that was also discussed during the meeting was the Raizal Museum.
We want to restore and maintain the architectonic structure that is there, so we will be back to define and that they can tell us also when this work will start. Moving the cannon from where it is and put it back where it was, and the other side is to construct a Raizal museum where the old hospital was. So, well, I think we didn't advance much because the information that we wanted to receive, the government did not come with it. So, let's hope in August. We are delaying and delaying. This thing is we started from 2016 and we are in 2022 and we just cannot advance. So,
according to Ophelia Livingston, in the month of August, there will be another meeting with the departmental administration to continue the process.
In other news, Carolina lifted the sanction and measures that were imposed by the same environmental corporation to the contractor for the reconstruction of the circumvent road on the island.
The suspension imposed by Carolina and the work carried out by the construction company on the circumvent road was lifted after the comptroller finally installed meshes that facilitate the crossing of crabs for their pawing process during the close season, according to their normal life cycle. Gilberto Miles, Carolina's Deputy Director of Seas and Coasts, said.
As a result of that, in conversation with the contractors and Carolina, we have decided to implement an action that has been done in many other islands, where they have built bridges with meshes so that these crabs during the closed or spawning season can move freely.
The sanctions have been imposed by the Environmental Corporation to the company due to the non-compliance of the commitments agreed between the constructor company of the circumvent road and Carolina, which contemplate construction of retaining walls and adequacy of a system with guides, which allows the passage of the black crab for the spawing or close season.
These nets works as a ladder for them. They climb those nets, they go down, do their spawning, come back and climb the nets, and in that way they do their normal cycle. We consider that these nets can be a great alternative.
Finally, Carolina invites the community to be vigilant of the passage of the black crab with the reduction of speed when transiting the road during the closed period, which ends on July 31st, and also to avoid the capture, especially of females with eggs.
A short while ago, departmental police announced that in the neighborhood of Morris Landing, through a search and seizure operation, they managed to capture a man in flagrante delito for the crime of trafficking, manufacture, or possession of narcotics. In addition to marijuana, the authorities found cash and a digital gram scale. The person is now expected to be placed at the disposal of the competent authorities. The departmental government is still looking to form the Departmental Council of Culture. For this reason, it will conduct an election process in the coming days to choose the new leader of the artisan sector in the island.
Cultural Secretariat, as the one in charge of the confirmation of the Departmental Council of Culture, calls on the artisans of the department to elect a representative in their next election to be held on Monday, June 13th, and thus allow this girl to be integrated into the Departmental Council of Culture.
La Secretaría de Cultura.
The Secretariat of Culture is in charge of the Departmental Technical Council of Culture. In order to guarantee the total conformation of this council, it allows to summon the Artisans Guild to the third call for the conformation of this council. This election will take place on June 13 at the facilities of the Cultural Center at 9 a.m.
It should be noted that last April 18th, the election of the cultural sectors that make up the Departmental Council of Culture was carried out, pending the election of the representative of the Artisans Guild. Among the functions of the Departmental Culture Council are to lead and advise the local government in the formulation and execution of cultural policies.
Now we continue with Victor Fusal, Sport News of the department.
Hello, here are the best sports of the island. And this time with a sport that love and discipline helps to train professionals. Sports is one of the means that help to form people and professionals. Discipline is an important factor in the formation of young athletes. Liliana Consuegra is one of these coaches that with love and discipline help to form professionals for the archipelago. Teleislas Sports talk with the renowned skating coach.
Mi trabajo es con mucho amor, mucha pasión.
I do my work with a lot of love and passion, especially believing in the children and in young people, and knowing that through sport they can achieve many things and can get ahead. A little while ago, I met an athlete, a girl who is already a pilot, and another who is a specialized doctor, and working with both of them was challenging for me, but they have moved forward. They told me that thanks to me, the discipline I instilled in them, to my advice, they have become what they are today, thanks to sport, thanks to skating. Skating is a sport with a lot of dedication, a lot of discipline, and what I want is that children and young people of San Andres practice not only skating but any sport, because it keeps them away from many bad things that are happening. We continue working in this process. I have always said it, children and young people are the future of Colombia and the hope of the islands. But as adults, we must encourage children to practice a sport.
According to Liliana, she will continue with the formation of athletes and professionals, and discipline will be the fundamental part in the formation of these future skaters of the Insular Department. This is her greatest satisfaction. On the other side, with traditional sports and recreation activities, the RISAL group of the Secretariat of Sports says present in schools of the islands. A group that has been leading sports recreation programs in different schools, seeking to teach children about recreation and traditional sports so that the custom of the island department are not lost. After having passed through the Ruben Dario School, we arrive at the Philip Beekman School with a great acceptance among the students.
Through the various programs that the governor's office that is headed by Governor Everett Harkins Shogreen, the Secretariat of Sports, we have a variety of programs. We have Jamboree, Disability, we have Senior Adult. This we are conducting in different educational institutions of the Archipelago Department. We are arriving with our instructors, with our contractors, to bring a little happiness, a little joy and sport to children in school.
Continuing with these programs is fundamental to preserve the sporting and traditional culture of the island, said Olivares Taylor. What a great thing to maintain our culture. This will be all in sports for tonight. We will see you on another broadcast. We continue with Lisa.